Hi, it's me, Joseph from HimalayanBowls.com. I would like to tell you about some of the more common myths about singing bowls. Not everything that you read about singing bowls is true, and there are a lot of myths and legends about these objects, partly because they're exotic and people find them very interesting, and partly because there have been a lot of salespeople who have really made up these selling stories. One of the more common myths about singing bowls is that they're made of 7 metals. I'm not sure exactly where this story originated, but you hear it in Nepal. If you go around to the singing bowl shops, they'll tell you 7 metal, 7 metal. Usually, when they're talking about 7 metals, they're talking about the cheapest brass bowls, maybe covering the fact that they're lacking in quality by making up a story that they're made of supposed 7 metals. They're really not. I tested hundreds of singing bowls as well as other Himalayan metal objects and never found anything like 7 metals. In fact, if you do a search on the internet for 7 metal bronze or 7 metals, the only references you'll find are a few websites that are selling singing bowls or talking about singing bowls. What happened really is that the same story, the same text was copied and pasted from a lot of websites, and people just kept repeating the same story about the 7 metals, but there's no truth to it whatsoever. There are two types of metals used for singing bowls. One is bronze and the other is brass. The traditional singing bowls, the real hand-hammered singing bowls, both new and antique, are made from bronze. It's a type of bronze known as high tin bronze or bell metal bronze, which contains an unusually high percentage of tin. And this combination of metal, which is 77 to 78% copper and 22 to 23% tin, is the best sounding metal in the world. It's the same metal that's used in church bells and handbells and Asian gongs and in the singing bowls. Bell metal bronze really has an amazing, enchanting sound, is very durable, can look almost like gold, and is the absolute best metal to make singing bowls out of. More commonly used today in modern produced bowls is brass, which is a mixture of copper and zinc. And the reason that brass is used rather than bronze is that it can be cast, and they can mass produce bowls in a more modern manufacturing process and call them singing bowls. To me, they're not really singing bowls because they're not made by the traditional manner and they're not made with the correct metal, and they also don't have a beautiful sound like the real hand-hammered bronze singing bowls. Either way, they're made from brass or bronze, and there's no such thing as a 7 metal singing bowl. The 7 metal fever has been taken so far that today there are actually singing bowl manufacturers who will put a tiny, tiny amount of those 7 metals in their bronze mixture so that they can honestly tell their customers, yes, they contain the 7 metals. I spoke to one such manufacturer who told me that they included 0.00001% of gold in their singing bowl alloy, which is a very infinitesimal amount, but it allows them to be honest with their customers and they feel better about it. Another of the common myths is that singing bowls come from Tibet. They're commonly called Tibetan singing bowls. I intentionally called my business Himalayan Bowls because the truth is singing bowls were never made in Tibet. Singing bowls are from Nepal. They were actually found across Asia, but the main type made in Nepal are also the best sounding singing bowls that have ever been made. The Himalayan bowls are truly spectacular and beautiful. Why are they called Tibetan singing bowls? A lot of objects from that part of the world tend to be called Tibetan. They're also associated with Buddhism and Tibetan Buddhism. And finally, they were originally traded by Tibetan people who left Nepal and India, went around the world and opened import shops. So for all of these reasons, the singing bowls are rather culturally Tibetan, even though they're made in the country called Nepal. A third myth is maybe a little bit more controversial because it really strikes people in their beliefs, and this is the myth about the chakra tones. I'm the bold person who has, from the beginning, said there's no such thing as chakra tones. I'll do a separate video talking about chakras, how they're used in meditation, how they are meaningful to your well-being and health, and how chakra tones came to be associated with singing bowls. For now, I'll just say that chakra tones, just like the 7 metals, are used mainly as a selling tool. I have a much better way to select singing bowls if you are looking for a singing bowl for your personal well-being or to affect a certain part of your body. Watch my other video on choosing a singing bowl by tuning. If you've heard other myths about singing bowls or have questions about singing bowls, feel free to contact me by email or live chat at HimalayanBowls.com.